1. You are now live on Channel 8 and YouTube.
Thank you very much, TCTV. Good evening. The time is now 6:30 p.m. I'm Chairman Mike Curry, and I'd like to call our Select Board Business Meeting to order on this 24th day of January, 2024. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Nat, if you could lead us.
Of course. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everyone. Before we begin, I'd like to state for the record that not only are we being streamed live on TCTV Cable Station 8 and our YouTube web platform, but this evening's recording will be available for later viewing on our YouTube channel. We and TCTV would be happy if you subscribe. If there are any audience members who are or plan to record video, please let us know. We do have one very special guest with us tonight, Senator Pete Durant, and we do have our quorum for this evening. As always, our agenda for this evening is publicly available at the official source for town information, templetonma.gov. There you may sign up for alerts or all public meetings, as well as our town administrator's weekly report. I would also encourage those listening who have not signed up for Code Red, please do so at our website or by calling 866-939-0911, as this is the primary method for engaging with the public for important information. Although I have the discretion as chairperson to add and remove from the agenda, it has been set to allow for time, personnel resources, and public awareness. I reserve the right to move agenda items around to best fit our guests and our business. Excluding board members, I didn't do a count. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got about 10 items tonight, so I have an estimated meeting time of about an hour and a half, not including our executive session. If this is your first select board with us, we're glad that you joined us. We are proud to serve the community and will address tonight's business with patience, fairness, and efficiency. We would ask the same for our guests. Let's have a great meeting. All right, I am super glad to bring up our first guest this evening. I am taking this out of order for some of the other housekeeping that we have. Senator Durant, if you'd like to come up to the big mic.
You're in the hot seat.
This is exactly what we say, sir. Welcome and congratulations, Senator Durant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first, I apologize for missing the last meeting. I came down with the COVID,
Oh,
and
no.
so I was out of commission. No, I've had it before.
I'm up to 4.
Oh, okay. But out of commission for a couple of days, and unfortunately, it fell right on the day when you were supposed to come up here.
Right.
But I just wanted to take a moment and introduce myself. I'm State Senator Peter Durant for the Worcester and Hampshire District, all 22 towns, and it's an honor of mine to be here and talking to you all. Just some of the background, just so some of the people at home and you can kind of I guess get to where I came from, and I'll be brief. Is I spent 12 years as a state representative for the 6th Worcester District, which is more obviously in the southern part of the county. It included the towns of Spencer, Charlton, Dudley, and Spencer, Charlton, Dudley. Yeah, what was it? In Selfridge, and spent 12 years there. And prior to that, I was in your seat as a selectman, and I spoke to Adam, and my first town administrator was Carter Terenzini.
Yep.
And so we had that connection, and Carter was a good man. And I always tell a quick story. When I first got elected, I first went up to Carter and I said, "Hey, Carter," I said, "I got all these ideas. This is what I want to do. I want to do this." And Carter, and you guys will appreciate it if you know Carter. He looked at me and he said, "Those are really great ideas. You just get 2 other board members to agree with you, and I'll be right on them."
Yep, that's Carter.
That's Carter, right? So that was his way of telling me, mind your own business, and but he was a good town administrator. But like I say, I'm here to serve the town. We're still filling out our staff. Right now, we have a legislative director. His name's Curtis Bouchard. My chief of staff is Ann Godrow, and we have a district director, Dan Hickey, and a part-time district director in Jared Brigg. We are still looking for somebody up in the northern part of the county. We have an office. It's in Gardner City Hall, And so we're looking for somebody who's actually in Gardner or right around here to occupy that space. And so we put it out there. If you're know of people, we're happy to talk to them and make sure we get the right person in there so that we can serve the northern part of this.
Collectively, we're all looking for people to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same everywhere, right?
Yep.
But just to get to some business, right? So as you all know, the governor has issued the budget today.
Yes.
We're still going over it. It came out at 1 o'clock and I had meetings all afternoon. So I just kind of got a little bit of the background. As you probably know, the budget's increased by about 3%. I think it was 2.8%. To $58 billion from 56 previously. For cities and towns, that has meant about a 3% increase. And so I keep going to my phone here because I did take down your budget numbers, and I have to go big because I left my glasses in the car. Again, according to the governor's numbers, last year, Templeton's local aid was 1,667,000. Next year, it's 1,717,000, so about $50,000 more. It looks like, again, according to her numbers, the Chapter 70 money for Templeton is 11,000 and change, $11,077. In Narragansett's going up from 12,240,000 to 12,380,000. So there's some modest increases. As we were fond of saying in the legislature, the governor proposes her budget and the legislature disposes of her budget. And so as you know, right, the House takes that budget up in April. We pass it the last week of April, and then it turns to the Senate. Those numbers, typically the House is going to take their own stab at it. Of course,
Yeah, but we rely on that House one.
yeah. The governor kind of sets the tone for her directions, her priorities, and what she wants to accomplish, and then the House kind of takes it over from there.
We heard her start off with she was at MMA this past weekend. We had the conference, and she was she and Kim Driscoll were quite positive about it. I know that the Empowerment Act dropped couple days ago. So
yeah, and you know, again, I think the governor's got some good initiatives in there. Obviously, because we're in an environment now where we had to make the governor had to make some 9C cuts. Revenues are coming in kind of soft. So we're hoping that this is going to be a sound budget. As you also know, once the House is done with it, the Senate takes it up. And we have the benefit in the Senate of knowing kind of further down the road how that revenue's coming in. And so we kind of hopefully in the past, as you guys probably all know, we're able to kind of increase a little bit. Being what we know now, we just don't know where that's going to end up. But we're looking forward to it. I think she's got some good initiatives in there. And I think there's some things that we need to do a lot of work on, right? I can say other than that, that's kind of where we're at right now. I know Templeton didn't suffer from any 9C cuts that I know of. Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
it's a statewide grant.
No, and I don't think you did. I didn't see Templeton in the list. So,
Okay.
so that's good. We were spared any of those.
Okay.
But again, going forward, we're gonna keep an eye on that. And that's kind of the long and short. That's the nickel tour of kind of what we've got to say. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I was going to say the board. We just wanted to quickly highlight some of our successes,
Sure.
our challenges. I've asked each of them if they have one challenge or something that they specifically would like to look you in the eye and say, this is what's important to me as you kind of walk around the halls of Beacon Hill.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't want people to think that I'm texting. I take notes on my phone.
Oh,
'cause
there you go.
it's an easy way for me to do it, but people look at me like, hey, he's texting during the middle. So I promise you, I'm not
What you
texting.
ordering your dinner. In the interest of time, I've asked each board member for their own perspective of the success and the challenge, which I think not only gives you some face time, but also gives you a little bit of a what kind of diversity we have within
Absolutely.
the group. I specifically would like to highlight our collaborations this year. We can't get anything done without a partner. If we walled ourselves around Templeton and didn't build partnerships or otherwise, or grants or intermunicipal agreements, we wouldn't get anywhere. So I'd like to really highlight the fact that we look out. Every select board member winds up having kind of like a super friend power, kind of dating ourselves right now, but they have that special power that like Montechusett, education, environmental, local groups. We all have a kind of like an understanding of things, and those are the partnerships that I'd like to highlight. Construction projects, working with Capstone Communities, MPC Development. I attended one of their workshops where they convert these schools. We're their next project right now.
Oh, good.
So Baldwinville Middle School.
Mhm.
It's last, I'm taking some thunder away. Well, otherwise, but we're able to do, that's part of the collaboration.
Sure.
Moving forward, as many communities have, we have a challenge with infrastructure.
Yeah.
We don't have $1 million or a couple $1 million in our back pocket to be able to fix a bridge,
Mhm.
work on an entire road network or otherwise. We do have, if you saw coming in, you might have seen, we have a state rotary project that's been years in the works.
Right.
That we'll be beginning with that, but infrastructure is one of my big asks, to be able to take a look at what's out there. I know when I heard from the governor this weekend, it's a little bit of a different audience. You've got direct, municipal and top level. You've got Markey and Senator Warren out there, but those are the ones you mentioned. $58 billion budget. The amount of money that Senator Markey was talking about that just came in within 1 year for federal grants was 3 times that amount. So there's a lot of federal money that's out there. It's basically, who do you know, when do you hear it, and when you can apply for it. That's kind of the view from my chair. I'd like to like for my vice chair to continue. So
May I just make a couple of statements? So I think you're right. And we spent some time yesterday with Congresswoman Trahan.
oh good.
And
Were you at the at the airport?
Yep. And the governor in this administration is aggressively going after a lot of the federal grants,
Mhm.
and they're really putting a bigger push than we saw even with the Baker administration to try to get those in. So we're hopeful that a lot of that money can come through and filter down
We're
as well.
looking forward to it. Yeah.
Um,
Really answer the mail on time.
Yeah. And as far as going forward too, I did want to mention, and you kind of brought it up, the collaboration. Representatives Zlotnick and I, we just ran a race, but we speak, and I spoke to John yesterday.
Yep.
We move past that, and when it comes to cities and towns, we may not agree on state and federal issues all the time, but when it comes to cities and towns, we speak with one voice.
That's
And
awesome.
it's important for us to collaborate and make sure that we're on the same page together with you.
And we're
So-
on I think we're on our second year with John.
Yep.
As they redistricted,
Right.
and Suzanne moved.
Yep.
A little to the west.
And so, so anytime, as things come through, our offices are in constant contact. And so you may hear from me, you may hear from him, but know that we do
That's great. And
collaborate.
our door is always open. Yeah.
Yeah. And as we move towards the budget, you'll be getting communications from our office about your priorities for the year. So as we go forward, again, we don't know what earmarks look like or what some of the priorities are, but we like to collect them so that we can look for opportunities to get your funding during the budget cycle.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to just address those.
Of course. Tim, you're the vice chair.
Thank you. Hey, Tim Toth, Vice Chairman.
Yeah.
First of all, welcome.
Thank you,
We
Tim.
understand you're getting your feet on the ground and, already. The alien is in the speaker. I'm going to piggyback on Chairman Curry's comments on infrastructure.
Mhm.
And I want to start off with what I deem a local success. We have a municipal power and light plant.
Yeah.
As does the town of Ashburnham and Sterling nearby. Everybody else around us, we're those small islands in the big National Grid Eversource
Yep.
area. When we look around the recent storms, knock wood, our power stays on.
Mm.
If we do lose it, it's a matter of minutes, hours, but it's restored immediately.
Yeah.
Other than the ice storm 2008, which was a totally different nightmare for everybody. But I look at the towns around us and it's just amazing. And we can't highlight enough how important they are to the community.
Mm.
That said, I look backwards and revisiting history. The 2003 East Coast brownout that
Mhm.
took out a lot of the central portion and the entire Northeast
Yeah.
corridor. I remember there was a presidential decree under Bush 43 to take the grid system off the poles, off the air, get it underground, and never really came to fruition.
Yeah.
As I looked at it and I still think about it, it's like, what an opportunity.
Mm.
Just think all the resources what it would take, what it would do for the businesses, the vaults, the manholes, the wiring, the connectors, this, that, the other. And sure, it's gonna be a decades-long project.
Yeah.
But I look at the towns around us, it's like, that could be a huge benefit.
Mhm.
So any thoughts on being able to support that kind of an infrastructure upgrade to the region?
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple of things to note, and it's interesting because again, coming from Spencer in my old district, we don't have municipal lights. But I was talking to Peter Lukes and Holden, they have it as well, and they seem to be real success stories. A lot of the municipal lights companies. So I commend you guys for that. The other thing I will say is, I spoke with a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but I spoke with some of the utility executives. And they understand the need that a lot of infrastructure upgrade needs to take place, especially as we move to more clean energy, as long as we move to more EV, solar, and these types of technologies. Our grid just can't sustain that. Our grid can't take it. And so they understand that there's a lot of upgrade that needs to take place. That's the good news. The bad news is, of course, it's a very expensive project. And so, I actually like the idea of putting it underground. I think it makes sense. The cost is just going to be astronomical. I think the sad part is that the infrastructure package that we would hope had come out of Washington never really materialized. And so we don't have that kind of access to the capital we had. And COVID, unfortunately, that era of easy money, if you will, coming from during the pandemic era, it has dried up, and now we have to pay those bills. So I think it's a really worthy project, but I would be remiss if I said that it's something that I see on the horizon just because of the cost. I think as we go forward, we need to look at new projects and as we're upgrading, to look at those kinds of things. I think it makes sense. And I think, again, it's going to be a necessity, but I'd be hard pressed to tell you exactly how we might pay for it. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. And just by seniority now, Julie Richard, she's a
Hi, Julie.
3-term select board member. Thank you.
Aging, you might,
No,
thank you.
sorry.
They keep getting you to run, huh?
Actually, I'm a huge supporter of our public safety.
Absolutely.
And in the last few years, it's been a challenge with our budgets, but they've been balancing. It's nice to see that we have departments that are near capacity, but I'm always advocating for more police, more fire, more highway, upgrading highway stuff. But I really just want to say welcome and congratulations. I really don't have any specific questions to you tonight. Backing up your whole program 110%. So good luck with everything.
Thanks. And and I think I think again, it gets to my philosophy, but to me, the number one goal of the number one purpose of government is to keep us safe in property and in life, right? And that means police, fire, and then you work your way from there. And a few years back, we passed the police reform bill, and a lot of our departments have struggled from that bill, and it's a lot of ways it disincentivized people from wanting to join the force. I talked about the new training center that was built in my district down in Southbridge. Beautiful facility. And I was there with the Lieutenant Governor, Karen Polito, back a few years back. I forget the exact year now, but and she had asked the gentleman who was running it. She said, this is beautiful. Are you getting a lot of response? You got full classes? And he said, no, nobody wants to do this anymore. And that's a real shame. And so I think we have to find a way through that to make sure that the public safety has our support, and they know we have and they know that they have our support. So,
That's great.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Police Chief Mike Bennett it has kind of highlighted a lot of the challenges that we had with that. I believe if Mike was here, if Chief Bennett was here, he would probably say that's one of many issues that these unfunded mandates that we wind up getting in reserve. Police officers are already tough to get.
Yeah.
Yep. Great point. Thank you very much, Julie. And Terry Griffiths.
Hi, Terry.
So, in the risk of being transparent, I wasn't prepared for Rep Zotnik, so my apologies to him. And when I saw that you were on the agenda, I got excited and
Oh, you prepared more.
I really did because and I thought, how do I phrase it?
Time limits too.
Out of respect for your time.
That's okay.
And I could relate to you with your story with Carter, because you can ask Mike, like I call him and just because this was part of my preparation. And how many things did I go on?
I like to call her the heart of our select board. She has a lot of feeling, a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm passionate for the residents that get a hold of me, whether it's Inflation Reduction Act or the Gardner Sludge landfill.
Yeah.
You know, but tonight, what came my way, and I asked Adam's advice, and it was a collaborative effort, separate conversations, rather than Inflation Reduction Act. Adam suggested, well, I said, how about TCTV? Because one of our powers and our strengths during COVID was our local television getting up and running for the meetings. And as Mike, which I got from his conversation today, which led me to read what Governor Driscoll proposed, the Municipal Empowerment Act yesterday. That's part of upholding some of the procedures during COVID, like hybrid meetings. So I talked to Steve and asked, and it's a Band-Aid, but there's 2 stalled bills on the floor, Bill H-74 and S-34, an act to modernize funding for community media. And Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. So I would, ask to look into that. And then I also called a former member of our board who knows more about finances than I do, because we do have a situation. We are in a news desert. Funds are drying up, and we have to make a decision whether we keep our TCTV an enterprise fund, or and a suggestion might be to fully fund it in the budget, or do something with taxes and him earning revenue. Perhaps what I was thinking is, because the hybrid meetings is mentioned in that act, the government could do some sort of chapter funding for hybrid meetings, which would help him a lot. Or he'll help them a lot, because it's Hannah and Dottie. There's a great group of people that are keeping us on TV and in line with what we need to do to be transparent.
Yeah, I think a lot of the if we try to at least look for a silver lining in some of the pandemic issues, it was some of these things that came out to make our lives a little bit easier. In the hybrid meetings have helped out. They've helped us out tremendously in the legislature, as we have a number of meetings to jump around to in the day, and being able to do some of them hybrid. So I certainly sympathize with you there. And so you're getting, obviously right now, cable access being paid for by the surcharge from the cable company, the Comcast up here. Okay. And of course people are kind of cutting the cord more, and things are happening like that. And I know a lot of the cable companies are trying to they renegotiate every 5 years or so, and that's getting tougher. Yeah. Yep.
According to Jeff Greenfield, partnered with their light company. They lapsed out Comcast, and they partnered with their light company to develop their own fiber optics.
Interesting.
It is interesting. So,
and I wonder if some of the last mile initiatives might come in handy.
Very good.
Yeah. So we can take a look at some of that too.
appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
And least but not last, our newest member, Matt Rivard.
Senator Durant, first of all, congratulations and
Thank
welcome. We're happy to have you today. On top of being the rookie around here, I'm also the board's education. Yeah.
Oh, it's
I'm also
far above rookie.
I'm also the board's education liaison, so I'm the one who reports back on our regional school districts, NRSD, Monty Tech. And one of the things that I'm most concerned about is education funding, especially special education funding. And I spoke to Representative Zlotnik about this 2 weeks ago, and actually was able to have a conversation with Senator Markey at the MMA conference about this as well. It seems in my mind that the funding levels that we have, especially for special education funding, but across the board for education, are the cost of providing a good quality education and hiring high quality educators is outpacing our ability to fund these items, especially in the special education realm. And so I would like to know what you and hopefully the legislature are going to, what you can work on in order to help us in that respect, because education is not going anywhere. We are required, obviously, to provide it as we should be. And in my mind, education is the silver bullet. Well-educated children are going to become the well-educated and, civic-minded adults of tomorrow. So everything we can do for them is going to just make things better in the future.
Yeah.
So I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on that, please, Senator.
We had to leave the toughest one for last, right? So I apologize because this is probably going to be an ignorant question. Narragansett has 2 towns?
Yes, Templeton and Phillipston.
Phillipston. Okay. All right. And so my wife was a teacher, and she left the profession for a number of the reasons that I think we all know, that it's a difficult profession. It doesn't pay well. There's not a lot of support. And we were just talking like before the meeting, is she's now working for the military, but it's so I do understand that it's a difficult issue. Some of the things that we've tried to do, I've worked with Representative Ferguson over the years to try to get that regional school transportation up. That's always been an issue. We got it to 100% finally in the House, but it didn't go through as 100%. I think it was 92 or something. So those are areas that we always want to fight for. Another interesting thing that we've been working on, and I guess I'm going to try to say this because I want you to know that we're open to a lot of these ideas. So one of the things that we've been working on as well is ag schools and trying to make sure that there's some more local options for that. Again, I apologize because I'm going to sound ignorant in some aspects. I don't know where the closest ag school is here, but when you get down to South County, you send them out to Norfolk, or you send them over to Pittsfield, you send them out west.
In our case, we have to send them to Norfolk. We actually have one in Norfolk right now. So.
And the transportation costs are astronomical.
Transportation costs were double the tuition.
Right, just the transportation alone. And so one of the things we're trying to do is talk about some pilot programs here with Tufts and things like that, where we can make it a little bit easier. And then finally yesterday, in addition to going to the airport in Gardner, we visited Mount Wachusett Community College, where they had an EV mechanics program going. So I'm a big proponent of the vocational education as well, because I just think it's it's really, really needed. And I just said the other night in the State of the Union, but it's one of those things where kids can come out of high school, with an education, and it catapults them right into the middle class. I can go prior to being elected. When I first became a rep in 2010, I worked in construction and I ran electricians, and they all made more than me. They were all making 6 figures, and that was 15 years ago. So, these are good these are good careers that we need to give people. So I'm just trying to say that we're open to some of these ideas to try to bring in some more money, try to give these kids an education that is going to be relevant to them and set them up for life. Set them up to move into adulthood and move into life. Funding's always going to be a problem here, and it seems like our educational costs are increasing at a rate much faster than anything else. Especially when you get into a regional school district where, unfortunately or fortunately, I'm not making a judgment on, but they hand you a bill and say, here you go, pay it, and this is what you get. So it's a tough situation. That's a long way to say that I don't have a lot of solutions for you, but we're willing to work, and we're always trying to find some ways that we can do better. And I apologize because that's kind of all I got for you.
I understand. You're still just getting into your. I mean, you've been in your role for 2 weeks.
But again, even a lot of these, they're the things that we've been dealing with for the past 20 years. And we have tried to work with the chapter 70 formula. that's worked out a little bit, but it hasn't worked out that great. And so there is a lot of effort around it. And yeah, unfortunately, it's just not an easy fix.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Great. Senator, that's all we have for you tonight. You have any final
Perfect.
word?
No, I'm happy to meet you. I love these kind of conversations. This is fun. This is good. Yeah, we're here for you. Please reach out and to anybody at home.
The chief, Adam Rudor's chief of staff name down.
Yeah,
there. We
Dan
took it down-
Godrow's
we
the
took it
chief of
down.
staff. Well,
There you
yeah,
go. He's
I-
already, he's ahead of it.
I have to pull out my card and I don't even have my glasses on. My arms aren't going to be long enough. Anybody who needs to contact me, 617, oh my God, 722-1540. 722-1540 is the office in Boston.
This one's
617-722-1540. We're here to help. We're here to help you in any way that we can. I will tell you, you know, one of the things that people always said is, I'm not the kind of guy who is always hounding you. And if you need something, please reach out, and don't feel like you're ever bothering me, or ever, you know, like, hey, I got a stupid question, please. That's what we're here for. I'm here to help you guys in any way I can.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
so much.
If I can grab your card, I'll.
Absolutely.
one.
Absolutely, I'll give you a few more.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
Drive safe.
Yeah, one.
Thanks, everybody. I gave.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Senator.
Take care.
Safe travels.
Thank you. Oh, appreciate it.
Safe travels.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Awesome. Let's move on. We are now at item 3, approval of minutes from prior meetings. We have meeting minutes in our packet from the 10th of January.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of 1/10/2024 as presented.
I have a motion
Second?
and I have a second. Any further discussion? Observations or amendments? Okay, hearing none. On the motion to accept the meeting minutes for January 10th, 2024, how would you vote, Tim?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thank you very much. We have no executive session minutes. I'm going to open up the floor to citizens. Hi, Candace.
Hi.
Candace or Recom?
Huh?
Are you Candace or Recom?
Right.
For you're already speaking as Rec, okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to tell everybody that Saturday at 3 o'clock at the high school is the girls' softball clinic for pitching and catching. So anybody who's interested in pitching and catching, we have a softball clinic at the high school. And you're against the high school starting at 3 o'clock.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Oh, and our
Candace.
registration is open for the season for T-ball and girls softball.
Excellent. I did want to bring up a loss to the community, and I wanted to ask for a moment of silence. Our Conservation Commission Chair, George Andrews, lost his wife, and I'd like to hold a moment of silence for her. Thank you all. Our condolences to the Andrews family. Are there any other public input? Citizen input? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on. I am going to take an item out of order. Item I from new business is action related to an amendment to the select board operating policies and procedures with action related to the order of the agenda. Does anyone have any objections to moving that item up? Okay.
None.
All right, so this item, I actually was working with him to try and kind of change that structure, so we had some separation. years ago, we used to wind up having the town administrator up, would have a report up at the front, going over the weekly report, any kind of the news that may happen. And I think it was more of a conversation, but it was an observation, and then it was like a logical thing to move some items around, to move the administrator's office comments up front for a little bit more clarity, little bit closer to the front of the meeting. So really, the select board operating procedure change would just move, keep our comments solely select board comments at the end of the meeting, comments and reports. And then the administrator would wind up having it at the front part of the meeting. But that's the reason why we make the motion to change the select board operating procedures, to change the agenda to bring the administrator comments up after citizen input.
So moved.
So seconded.
Motion in a second. Any discussion?
So just to clarify, what we're gonna do is under, if anyone's looking at this online, under the select board operating procedures policy, under item 5 policy, B, preparation of meeting agenda and packet, 1, order of the agendas. Basically, we would insert number 3 underneath the present, we put it after citizen input? Is that where you want to put it?
Yeah, we're just moving it up.
Yeah. So we'd put item 6 under citizen input as administrator comments and reports, renumber the rest. And then under current item 7, which is board member and administrator comments and reports, we would strike and
That is
administrator.
exactly right. Yep,
Is that?
you got it right.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Mhm.
Right. No, I have,
Did you-
I just-
Excuse me, Mr. Through the chair, you said
good?
6, it's 5, right?
Well, it's
Subject to-
renumbering happens.
it's
We're
subject to
just
renumbering, yeah.
Structurally changing the subject of each line, so
Yeah.
yes, they'll be
Okay.
numbered appropriately with the order that we're prescribing tonight.
Yep. Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Anything other, did you have a question or comment? Okay. Okay, hearing nothing
Mr.
further.
Chair, one quick comment.
Yes, of course.
You said it tonight and it was looped back and I had some feedback after the all boards meeting. I heard the comments were the town administrator's office. There is no town administrator's office. They're the staff of the select board.
Got it.
And, the citizen that bent my ear for about 15 minutes. It's like, I understand. Thank you. I will address. Thank you. But-
I think that at least the separation from the comments or otherwise, I think was a good move.
I think it'll help.
Anything else? All right, on the motion to amend the select board operating procedures to account for an order of agenda change to move up administrator comments up after citizen input, how would you vote? Tim,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Matt,
yes,
and I vote yes as well. All right. Policy adoption at 7:08. We're ready to move on. Oh, look, administrator comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
I will be brief. I just want to commend the work of the town departments on the town council's work as well, addressing 25 Central Street and shutting down the illegal business there. They did a fabulous job. I was very impressed. And I think we're going to slowly start addressing these. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a while to go through the court process. Lori's been doing a fabulous job and she has more she's working on. So stay tuned for continued improvement in the town of Templeton. And that's all I got for you.
Thank you. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. All right, moving on into new business, introductions of new employees. I don't see any listed for us, but I do see an appointment. Vikki? Hi, Vikki. You can come on up. Vikki, we got your, we were very pleased to get your community interest form. Welcome back to the area.
Thank you.
And the first one on there is for the EDIC.
Yes.
That is fantastic. We needed another member. I sit on it as the government rep. I think I'm the government rep. Oh, you're the government rep. Municipal finance.
yes.
There we go. So we'll all have, it's horrible that I'm using this metaphor the second time and it may be way over your head, but it's Super Friends power, like Superman has a power, Batman has a power. So we all had our different areas that we had some expertise. And you help round out the rest of us. You're like, yeah, you complete us. Is that what they do? I'm allowed one of those per meeting, one per meeting. But we're very, very happy to be able to consider you tonight.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm very excited to be home and to get involved in the local government.
And yeah, so I would entertain a motion.
You had me at hello.
Yeah, there we go.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I move to appoint Vikki Chase to the EDIC at-large position to a
Second.
term ending June 30th, 2026.
Second,
okay. I have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? Any questions for us?
No, thank you.
Okay, great.
welcome, Vikki.
Thank you.
You're in trouble. I haven't even know how it goes now.
Can't wait.
Hang on, we're still gonna vote on it.
And hearing no further discussion on the motion to have Vikki Chase appointed to the EDIC for the term specified, how would you vote, Tim?
Yes.
Sorry, Terry,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes,
Nat,
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Welcome aboard.
welcome aboard.
All right, item C, we've already achieved. Item D, presentation and action related to new phone service provider. And Holly, we have your memo in the packet, but the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Do you have a microphone?
I don't, but I won't be talking much. I'm gonna let them do the presentation.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
We have Janine from Vonage, the company that we would like to go with. And Eric Schultz and Peter Holtman are on there from TNS Communications. I had mentioned them in the memo.
Mhm.
Janine, did you want to start?
Good evening, everyone. Peter, if you want to kind of introduce everyone and kick this off.
Certainly.
Go
Mr.
right
Chairman,
ahead.
members of the board, thank you for having us on this evening. We appreciate it. So we have been working with Holly for near a year on reassessing the phone system. TPX is a cloud-based provider. They do an okay job, but we have found, Holly has indicated, that they lack in this area of service. When she needs help, it's very challenging. That's been an experience of ours. And so Eric and I are part of TNS. I'm one of the principals of TNS Communications. We're a technology service advisor. So what we do is we do all the legwork. So we help Holly figure out what's out there. And there's an awful lot of noise. So we help cut that down. What we did is we came to Holly after doing some, after doing some discovery, we brought to Holly 7 different providers we thought might be a good fit. We've discussed all of those, kind of whittled that down to 2 or 3, and had started working through that process with one, and found that in retrospect, the level of service that Holly was looking for the town, they could not deliver. In the area of supporting the employees particularly, Holly spends a good amount of her time during the day just troubleshooting phone issues, as she's the point person with TPX, and they don't have a methodology to allow employees to call in to troubleshoot problems on their own. So after we precluded the first vendor, not because Vonage is second, I've been selling all of these providers for years. We narrowed in on Vonage because of their exemplary support. They're kind of the granddaddy of the industry. So I just wanted to introduce that a little bit, our position. There's no charge for our services. We represent some 200 different cloud-based phone providers. So the model is really simple. We help do the legwork, and if you work through us, the carrier pays us a commission. So I wanted to put that out there so you didn't think that there was some cost where I was going to send a bill in. With towns, we understand budget's always a challenge, right? So there's nothing sneaky here. We just wanted to let you know this is where we fit in. So we help identify solutions for organizations across every spectrum, whether it's public sector, private sector, large organizations, small organizations, and all kinds of technology. With me on the presentation tonight, Eric Schultz from TNS and Janine Rodriguez from Vonage. She and I work together now for several years. And I'm going to let her take over and present some information about Vonage and what you would be getting with that solution. Before I do that, are there any questions from the members of this select board?
It does not appear so. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. I'm going to mute to avoid.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you, Peter. Wanted to kind of start out a little bit by talking about how Vonage stacks up versus our competitors and some of the differentiators. First and foremost, we were one of the first companies to offer voice over IP in 2004, and we've grown exponentially, especially in the last couple of years with the pandemic and how the world has changed so much. So biggest differentiator is definitely we own our own technology stack. So what does that mean? That means that we're constantly upgrading the system. If anything breaks, we could easily identify what the issue is and quickly fix it. We are hosted on AWS servers, and our network operations center proactively monitors network safety 24/7, 365. And we're very proud of our 5 nines SLA. Our platform is deployed on a highly distributed architecture worldwide to ensure redundancy in the event that one site degrades or fails due to a natural disaster or cybercrime. So wanted to speak a little bit to onboarding and kind of what pre and post sale support look like, because I think that that's really an important factor here. So tremendous layers of support. I support Peter and the TNS team. So I don't go away, and hopefully that's a good thing, Holly. I am here throughout the onboarding journey, which is basically anywhere from 30 to 45 days from start to finish. I see the onboarding along with the project manager, make sure that everything stays on track, as far as meeting that expectation of 30 to 45 days. And one really another important thing as far as how we differentiate is that Vonage does not start billing customers until the account is activated. So the implementation time to set up the account, add users, set up call flow, we recommend that the account is activated 2 to 3 days prior to go live. So again, that's pretty big, considering that we do not start billing. We are offering a credit, 1 month of services of $484 to offset a majority of the implementation cost. So just wanted to mention that. One of the big things, that Holly is kind of facing as far as hurdles is just the time that it's taking away from, her core responsibilities, and what she does best is adding new users, changing call flow, making changes to the system. And because of, the ease of use, how simple it is to navigate, she could easily change call flow, add new users as the organization grows. So that's going to free up a lot of her time to do the things that she does best. Peter, am I leaving anything out?
No, I think you've covered everything. I mean, I don't want to take too much time of the select board this
Sure.
evening. I will say, as an independent evaluating a lot of different providers, there's other fundamental services that you get. TNS doesn't go away either. We have clients that go back 25 years that stick with us, in part because we help with the implementation process. We've been deploying these cloud-based phone systems for 15 years. Back then, we called it the wild, wild west days of deployment. So we've learned all of the hurdles that we need to overcome. We've helped negotiate pricing on behalf with any of the providers. That's part of what we do. We go back, again, our allegiance is to the town. And then we help with the project implementation as well. Now, you might say, how? Well, we've got a lot of experience. So we're going to help walk Holly through, make sure that everything is checked off. In some cases, you might be looking at a paging system or a door access system that needs to be integrated. We make sure that that all gets done so that when we do transition, we've mitigated any of the potential problems. So we like to, minimize that and cut out 99% of the things that could go wrong. And usually we find, I think in the last probably 6 or 7 years, we haven't had any bad deployments with any of the providers we work with. Post-implementation, we're here to support her as well. We actually have, as TNS, we have several clients, many hundreds of clients actually, that have us listed as system admins in the system to help with adds, moves, changes, deletes, things of that nature, because we have the experience to do the programming, the call flow changes and whatnot. That's entirely up to the town. You don't have to if it's a security issue. We fully understand, but we make that available. So not only do you have the 24/7 network operating center from Vonage, which is, they have, I think, 7 in the US and upwards of, Janine, you'll correct me, I'm sure, but it's well above a dozen globally now. As 24/7 resources, you have Janine and you have TNS to continue to support the town if there's ongoing issues or changes that need to be made. So I just wanted to emphasize that we really do take a support role.
And just from a solutions perspective, we are including new physical desk phones, which I could share my screen if you guys would like to see what the phones look like. Our solution also includes a desktop application as well as a mobile application for flexibility. So what's really great about our solution is you have the ability to make and receive business calls. If you're working from home remotely on your desktop, I have a Bluetooth headset. That's how I make and receive calls all day. SMS text, internal chat. So there's just so many communication tools that just really help day-to-day operations be a lot more efficient.
Thank you. I'm gonna go, if I could open it up to questions, I know Terry would like to start.
Thanks. So, could you run us through the technical assistance that will save Holly time? What types, or maybe one circumstance where an employee would come in and ask for Holly's help, and what that would look like when they can access it on their own?
Sure. So just a very basic day-to-day, somebody forgets their username or password, which I'm constantly doing. Within the end user view, you could easily click reset password. An email is going to be generated within seconds, where the end user could easily go in and reset their login information. From a support perspective, anybody that's given permission from the organization, if they need to call in for any type of reason, whether it's, they forgot how to forward calls or they forgot how to, set up the follow me feature, they're going to have that full support that is going to free up Holly's time. As far as call flow, when I say making changes, there's inclement weather. You need to go in and you need to communicate that maybe there's going to be a delayed opening, or maybe you're going to be closed for the day because the snow is a little bit overwhelming. I'm in New York, so we're in official inclement weather season. But just making those changes by logging in from your browser at home or even your mobile application takes seconds, which really is going to free up a tremendous amount of Holly's time. Does that make sense?
And if I can add to that example, I think that it's also the ability for the employees. So TPX as a provider sees Holly as the single point of contact. Vonage will be set up so that everyone will have access to call into the support center to get help. What if your phone's locked up? It says it's not registered. I can't make and receive phone calls. So we want to make sure that they can help, it's a self-help. So there's an end user portal they can log into if they want. It's limited in what they can access. It's only reflective of their extension and the feature and functionality associated with their extension. But if they need additional support, instead of having to call Holly, stop into her office, take up her time calling into TPX or opening a trouble ticket, waiting for a response, think of all the time that's lost in that employee not being able to utilize their phone service, right? That employee can call into support. Yes, Ms. Slick.
Is that part of the setup package that you teach the users what your features are?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. There's an end user training that we've included on the quote that will be a dedicated training resource. It's a live 60-minute training that they will focus on, very specific things as far as the applications, the physical devices. How do I place a call? How do I transfer a call? So we're really going to dial into, the specifics that you want us to focus on. And because there are so many new communication tools, we just want to make sure everyone has a good understanding of what is accessible to them. I could make and receive business calls from my personal mobile device, and when a business call comes in, I get that Vonage mobile screen pop. So it's really nice to be able to see the difference between a business call and a personal call and be able to mute devices. You guys are going to like this, be able to mute devices when you're ready to just shut down and enjoy some family time. But it's just great to have that type of flexibility where when you're in the office, you can utilize that physical desk phone, mobile application, or desktop, and all devices replicate the same exact call behavior. So no matter where you are, you can make and receive business calls.
And that training will be recorded and be made available as a file for for Holly to be able to share with new people. I used to do on-site training, and I make that available if that's something that the town perceives as value. And again, we do that at no additional cost. As technology's advanced, that is not as, I mean, who thought we would be doing Zoom meetings for town meetings, right? And the pandemic changed a lot of that. I don't know how long ago you started that, but before the pandemic, I wondered where video conferencing fit in, and now we know it fits into our daily lives, probably more than once. So we try to make it as easy and simple for the end user to self-support.
Great, thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Actually, my question is not to the folks on the line. It's actually to the town administrator, the assistant town administrator. Two questions. Number one, when I looked at your memo, Holly, I didn't see when the contract would take effect. So if you know that, I'd like, when would this contract take effect? And then the second question is, where this is a $90 per month increase, do we have the funds available through the remainder of the year to cover the increase in services?
So the contract would take place once we get the approval and get through the initial training and everything. I was kind of thinking a couple months before the end of the fiscal year,
Mhm.
and we do have the money.
You do have it.
It's just a little bit.
A little over $1,000.
Yeah.
Difference in prorated for the remainder.
Yep. I just want to make sure that we
That's a great question.
dot our i's, cross our t's, make sure that's all there. Mhm. Thank you.
Holly, I had a question about current hardware. What happens with the current hardware if we're getting new equipment?
Janine, you don't recycle, do we recycle phones with you, or would that just be something we would do with someone else? I hadn't thought about that. They are
Unfortunately,
end of life.
sure. Unfortunately, we don't. Peter might have other ideas, but you could always post them, to a local social media platform to see if anybody was interested, or possibly donating them to a local church.
Yeah, and outside of those, we do have resources. TNS has resources that do buy phones. They are, as Holly pointed out, end of life. And because there's no precious or heavy metals in these phones, that they could be just sent to the landfill. But a better solution is finding a good organization that you would feel comfortable donating to, if we cannot, if one of our vendors would not be open to buying them for you, but we may be able to recycle them that way for you.
Just let the
And if
board work.
anyone has any interest in seeing the phones, I'd be more than happy to share my screen.
Okay. Board will have to vote to surplus those, and then we could go through the auction process.
Yeah, I'm looking for any way that I don't know how old they are, what the end of, like Peter was talking about, end of life or otherwise, but I want to be able to recycle without throwing them into a landfill. Taxpayer resources, I want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to recover some costs. I completely agree with your recommendation on your memo. I think it's a really good thing. It sounds like a very good outfit in terms of customer care. With a lot of evidence from what I heard tonight. You had another question?
Not really. I was going to say I move to approve and award the 3-year contract with Vonage as presented, and for the assistant town administrator to sign.
Second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, through you, just a comment that I just recently, being available more during the day, I have come in on a couple of different occasions, and I see that she literally needs to stop what she's doing to assist another employee on a phone issue. So hopefully this is really gonna help in the long run. I'm impressed already. I think it's gonna be great.
Excellent.
Happy to hear that.
Anything further?
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Hearing nothing further on the motion to approve and award the 3-year contract with Vonage as presented and for the Assistant Town Administrator to sign, how would you vote? Tim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Peter, Eric, and Janine, thank you for your presentation tonight. Holly, anything you want to finish with?
Just thank you, everybody. I appreciate the support and this will really help with efficiencies in our offices. And Janine,
you,
I'll be in
board
touch
members.
with all of you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
board
Thank
members.
you,
for your
everyone.
time. Have a great evening.
Have a good evening.
Thanks for coming,
Thank you.
folks.
Good night.
Night.
Okay, folks, we are up to a block of quarterly reports. We've got 4 this evening. Following the agenda, first we have Development Services, then Finance and Administration, then Community Services, and finishing with Parks and Recreation. I'd offer if we've got 4 tonight. Speakers, if you want to give highlights or brief by exception, board members, if you've got questions, or otherwise, just let me know when you've got them. We should be able to get through these hopefully within an hour. Good evening.
How are you?
Hello, busy woman.
So I will provide you with a couple of highlights, and I know that you get your reports a little bit early. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Overseeing the department, we had some good meetings with Fuss and O'Neill. We completed our annual report for our MS4 and outlined some of the other things that we have to do for that. As Adam mentioned earlier, we have been working on 25 Central Street and State Road and Otter River for some time. And those, during the last quarter, we were in Superior Court for those. So that was a lot of time. Communicable diseases, it's pretty much the same story, different months. And we had the added fun of RSV in the area, and then a couple noroviruses made their way around. But truthfully, we're pretty healthy out here. So highlights of building commissioner and Rhonda. They had 64 building permits, including 5 for new single-family homes, 3 residential additions, 8 minor alterations, and the rest were miscellaneous and a couple of commercial. With the changes in the fee structure, there was approximately over $2 million worth of value to what was being built, and the fees were $21,742, which is it has helped. It's going to help fund the
That's a good question.
yes.
So I know I had talked with you before the meeting. I had a well guy out from Peterson. Travis was telling me he works a lot with new construction or otherwise. And he said one of the big things that we should be looking at how Templeton and other, like Tim was talking about, municipal service company towns can put up poles faster, whereas National Grid may have like a year. Is that part of why we're being so successful for growth right now?
We really are successful because of the departments that light and water are amazing, and so is sewer. And
Flash to bang for at least Hubbardston Road, going across the road from me, from hearing to actually putting the pole in the ground was very quick.
weeks.
Yep.
Weeks. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
No problem. So
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, through you.
Mhm.
What were you were about to say, what the money goes, the fees collected?
part of the fee structure change was so that we will be able to budget in future years for the software that we're still working on for permitting, which eventually all departments will be able to use as we get into it. So a lot of work went into it. Rhonda did a great job, and it's going to pay out in the long run. So.
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure if it's appropriate to interject this now, but As,
During our report.
as departments are buying software, then I had mentioned to you, we might want to consider a conversation in the
Sure.
future about the cloud.
Sure.
As you could see, plumbing, electric and gas permits were selling like hotcakes. So in the last 3 months, the total permitting cost was $37,382. The safety inspections were completed for all the establishments that serve alcohol, and the safety inspections were done for daycare and Alliance Health at Baldwinville. The technology grant is all approved, moving forward. More on that in the next quarterly report. EDIC, moving straight ahead, doing what they need to do to spearhead and earmark the $200,000 budget and get things done. We need more business. Agricultural Commission. They had Growing Places did a presentation. Growing Places is a really good, are you familiar with them? Yeah, they actually provide good food for good prices for people who are really in need. They also buy from local farmers. So if you're a local farmer and you have surplus, you should contact Growing Places. They also discussed a property on North Main Street, a very small property with some very large animals. Just as a little update, 5 of those animals have been removed. So we're down to 2. And I appreciate the cooperation of the people that live there. ZBA, they heard, looks like 4. They had 4 hearings. One was for setbacks on 46 Shore, special permit to sell cars at 184 Brooks, and CCMPZ School Street LLC did an amendment to the original agreement, and it was found that the change was insubstantial to the original agreement, so it was approved and moved forward. The planning board had a large review coming up for a 55+ development. Haley Ward was chosen for that peer review. That is still in process. 39 Gray Road, we processed a special permit application for a martial arts studio. So that'll be coming forward. And Templeton Developmental Center came before the board and they split, they did 4 A&Rs, made 4 properties with more than 5 acres each. So they did do some splitting. Conservation site walks, let's see, 15 in total, and it ranged from all different things for notices of intent for new buildings, to culvert replacements and the pump station. There were 2 forest cutting plans that we received, and basically we just process those and watch for any news that comes back on those.
So are those, I just wrote, who does the cutting? That was, I went to Stevens Way and I looked at, and I've been following the planning board on that. and
Yes.
ZBA and
So what happens is when there's a forest cutting plan, it's actually, they hire people to do the forestry. The owners of the property hire people to come in and do the cutting. Sometimes they do a good job and sometimes they don't, and then they have to do a remediation.
thank you.
Welcome. Board of Health, it's the same thing. The landfill got a great test results. We got a couple of things we've got to fix that are pretty easy, and Bob will help me with that. 28 Albert, that's one of my things that I love. That went into receivership and they're currently working on it, and it's going to be brought back up to where it needs to be, and we'll get people in it, which is a good thing. There's a couple others in the same program, USDA, one on Shore Drive and one on Turner Road, Turner Street. Thank you. Not Turner Lane. So we'll be working more on those. And community preservation. Jessica oversees those under the direction of Mr. Henshaw, who's the chair. They presented at town meeting and all of that went well. I know I really reduced that.
You did great. Through you, Mr. Chair, I had a quick question. If we could go back to the planning,
Yes.
the proposed 55 and over development off Baker and Cottage Lane.
Mhm.
Is there an estimated amount of how many trailers are gonna go in?
They were actually,
Are they trying to squeeze them?
no, actually, they're being pretty good. They're allowing more space between them than what's actually
What they
required.
initially-
So
Oh,
there's a little bit more space. I believe it was 49.
it's just,
And
I
I'm
grew up in
sorry.
the area, but it doesn't look like
I-
you can put
Listen,
39, but
our
I'm
parents
sure
on
they know.
Cottage Lane, I get asked questions all the
Okay.
time.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions being asked recently on that particular
Yes.
development. I mean, I'm all for, developing here and there, but I certainly don't want to see us
Well, and
overdeveloping,
and much to the comments that you made to Senator Durant, infrastructure.
It's not gonna
Is an
hold on
issue.
to it. We're gonna pop every one of those
Right.
water mains in East Templeton
Right.
every 24 hours for 6 months.
Right. So there are a lot of
What we
things
did
that
on the
have to
last
happen.
time they did a development, so I was just curious. Cause you always get phone call, like, "Oh, they're gonna put 70 things up there," and I'm like, I walked the area and I
Yeah.
thought, oh, how
Mhm.
close are they gonna? So roughly 49.
I believe that's how many. I'm sorry.
So, no, that's okay. It's great. That's what needs to know, because I really didn't have enough of them.
If
So
anybody wants to see the plans, they are in our office and you
great.
can look at them at any time.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Matt. Yeah. Hi, Lori, how are you?
Good, how are you, Matt?
Well, thank you.
Good.
Some time ago, there had been some issues. I believe it was 292 Baldwinville Road. There had been an illegal car repair business going there with a building up there that I believe had not been permitted. Do you have any sort of update on where that is?
Well, the most I can say on that is that to date, we are being ignored. And it will probably go the same way that 25 Central and State Road went.
Okay, that's kind of what I wanted to know on that one.
And I
It's
believe-
also kind of where I figured it was. I just wanted to hear it. I just wanted to hear it from somebody who knew better. So,
Well, and I believe they'll be next.
then, okay, yep. Okay, I just wanted to know because I know that I drive by that repeatedly and that building there is,
Mhm.
eyesore is probably a good term for it, and there are probably worse. So anyways, thank you, Lori.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Just 2 comments. 25 Central, kudos to the judge that gave the town the teeth. Backed up the town and gave the town the teeth to do what it needed to do
Yes.
without any question. And the planning board did do a good job. They were thorough with Baker's Lane and the citizens that came in and voiced their concerns. To me, it's a lot. They have to prove a lot.
Yes. They do, but it is doable.
Thank you. Any further questions from Lori? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, next, quarter two report is our finance administration. I see Kelly on Zoom and she is our first item from the, finance perspective. We've got Kelly, Justice, Cheryl, and Graceland. We can see you.
Can't hear you though.
Oh, still muted, Kelly.
No. Just give it a sec.
No, comparing grace and justice. For sure, when Kelly gets connected, then he can probably start with them, if that's okay.
Yeah, I was just giving her a couple, giving her a chance to flip around. Second or two. Kelly, can I move on to the next? Okay. Justice,
All right.
good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board. So I'll just go over some of the highlights that I had on it. On November 16th, the state approved our tax rate. Our tax rate for fiscal year 24 is $12.60. That is a decrease of 32 cents from last year's rate. Some highlights, as we talked about, at the classification hearing, residential values went up about 7%. Land values were not increased, but we are going into a total revaluation program for fiscal year 2025. So just keep that in mind that we will be looking at all aspects of the town during that for compliance with state certification.
Question?
Real quick, and this comes from the MMA meeting that we just had over the weekend. One of the highlights that they did say in the finance update was they were very thankful for all the towns.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There you are, Kelly. One of the things that they said at the MMA was they were very thankful for the towns that did submit their tax recaps early ahead of in November, so they get them approved. It's nice to know that we were one of those. So thank you for doing that, Mr. Graves.
Yeah, no problem. And it's something that we really like to work hard with the DOR and with our, thank you to all the department heads, especially, Cheryl and Kelly. But getting everything in, I know that my office gets everything in, especially early on the assessment end, so that we can make sure that, we're right there on time, especially since getting the tax rate set on time, especially in the middle of November, is critical for us to be able to do successful billing when we go into December. So that's, that's important for us. One highlight that I wanted to mention is that the ATB case that the Board of Assessors had, one that went to the appeals court in Massachusetts was successfully ruled on, and they upheld the decision of the ATB, the Appellate Tax Board, which upheld the decision of the Board of Assessors. So that case is finished as of October. Third and fourth quarter tax bills were committed. Senior work off, we had 10 applicants that successfully completed the program and were able to get that tax benefit. And people are still coming in for their exemption applications. Just an FYI for everybody, for your tax exemption applications, it's not too late if you haven't signed a veteran's card or if you haven't filed yet. If you're a senior citizen, the deadline to apply is April 1st. So be aware of that. The deadline is April 1st of 2024 for that, but you still do have time. Anything that is granted, if you qualify, would be applied to your fourth quarter tax bills, and we will tell you what the difference is when we apply that. Motor vehicle commitment number 6 was done in November for calendar year 2023. RMV always does everything on a calendar year. In terms of chapter land, there were no new forestry plans, no new changes with chapter 61A and chapter 61B for recreational or agricultural and horticultural. And all current enrollees in chapter 61A and 61B did successfully file their paperwork. Only one property was taken out of chapter land this year with over $8,000 being committed in rollback tax to the town for that. FYI, anybody in chapter land receives a tax benefit. Anyone in 61B, it's 25% of their value. That's what they are assessed at. And the other two categories, chapter 61 forestry and chapter 61A, it's a percentage that's set by the state, or an amount that's set by the state, I should say. We submitted our budget that should say FY 2025 budget, does say 24. Just wanted to note that typo. Property visits have stopped currently because of the weather. Just a comment that from our office's perspective, there is a lot of building permits that are still going on. But just something that I've noticed is that the amount of major new construction permits that I'm getting in that are taxable, just to sort of highlight that some of the new construction that you're talking about with potential off of Baker Lane, or what you've been seeing off of Baldwinville Road with the Lily Lane project. Some of those facilities are not taxable under Mass General Law, so that doesn't count towards new growth or value for the town.
Right.
So just keep that in mind.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. But that's just something that I've sort of noticed, just kind of going through after my first year now and seeing the differences between what we've been reporting for new growth and what's starting to move forward. So just want to keep you aware of that. And still working on my classes towards my Massachusetts accredited assessor certification. Everything looks good on that should hopefully be successful next fiscal year. And our assistant resigned, but we recently held our interviews, and I will be bringing someone to our Board of Assessors next month. Other than that, do you have any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just one, I know a lot of people are curious about pilots, so is there any way you can expand upon the 8th year of the 20-year agreement of the solar farm pilot and how much it brings in or what it is?
So it's an agreement that that the town passed 8 years ago it's a pilot on 133 Farnsworth Road. It's a giant solar field out there. What the pilot does is it basically sets that they're only allowed to be charged a certain amount or taxed a certain amount per year. On our 8th year, I'd have to take out the sheet on what we are allowed to actually charge them for the solar field. It increases a little bit every year, and then once that pilot is out, then they're taxed at the full value of what the solar field is worth. So just to keep that in mind. Does that answer your question?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Any other questions for Justice? Justice, thank you very much.
problem.
And if I could go back in time, Kelly's up on audio now.
Yep, sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, so in my office, like Justice said, it's a big, to get the tax rate set, that's our main focus for the quarter. So we got that done on time, got the bills out. And then I worked with the retirees, getting their insurance taken care of, for getting all the new billings and everything out to them for their insurance for this year. We've got 2 more years of the 1% increase that was agreed upon. So 8 years ago now, that we've been increasing the percentage that they have to pay 1% each year until it got to 35%. The auditors are going to be in mid-February, so I've spent a good portion of the last quarter getting them documents, and so that they've got everything pretty much ready and they know exactly what they need to do when they come in, so they're not here as long for field work, hopefully this time, and can get that wrapped up into us quickly. I came to town for the fall town meeting. I know that there's been some questions about the cost for me to come to the town meetings. I pay for that out of my pocket, so there's no additional money or anything that's coming from taxpayer dollars for that. I live here, and that's just, for me to do that, that's what I do now. On the expenditures, everything is, really well. We don't have, there's a few that are over, but they're very, they're all explainable. There's nothing, out of the ordinary. And the revenue side, we're at 47%, which we are behind a little, but that will more than make up when we get out the large motor vehicle excise here in this quarter, that we make that up no problem. There's also the special article report, so you'll have that in your packet that gives all the special articles and the status of those projects. We've got several that are just continuing to work in the, they just continue to be used each year as the project, winds down. And I have the cash flow report. My apologies for not getting that in the first quarter. And I realized when I was doing the actuals that when I did the budgeted one, or kind of the estimate one, I used all of the funds of the town. And I realized that we needed to have it more segregated. So this is for the general fund money that we receive. It doesn't include light and water, sewer, any of the enterprise funds. It doesn't include OPEB, any of those funds that we can't, that are not accessible for us for cash flow. So this is exactly for cash that we have on hand to be able to use for bills. So you'll see that Cheryl, you'll see the cash flow projection, or what the actuals were. And you'll also see then Cheryl's cash report of what she has in the bank at December 31st. And you'll see in that very top box on her cash report of what she has in general fund cash. And we're within probably less than $100,000. And that more than likely is because of a month crossing over. All of the money that we get in from the sewer enterprise collections, she transfers those to sewer in a one block in the next month. So there's going to always be a little carryover of what money she needs to transfer to those to that department. So that's pretty much all I have. Cheryl is not with us tonight, but I just wanted to, hers is pretty self-explanatory. You can see the collections that were done. We had 56 municipal lien certificates, so house sales are still happening. She got the tax titles for FY23 taken care of, and I just must, commend her. She is just continually, ever since she has started, really taken that bull by the horns and has just really got a lot of income for the town from those tax title properties. I just really commend her on that, because it is an extreme amount of work, time consuming work, and she's done a great job. And, we found several that were not correct, that, it's going back to the very beginning and having to redo everything. Which again is just, it's the time that she has to spend on that is just amazing, and she's done a great job with that. So pretty much that's it. And so do you have any questions on the financials? I know you've had time to kind of have them and look at them.
Kelly, I had one observation on the BVA. I very much appreciated the specificity that you put in reaction to that spend plan for ARPA funds. So we can actually see some drawdown. So I very much appreciate you doing the line items for that. I had the expectation. I don't know, it wasn't like I was at the wishing well or whatever, but it followed closely thereafter. So I very much appreciate that.
Mr. Chair, I have micro grants circled under that. So yeah.
Yep, we'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it, Kelly. Thank you.
You're
Any other
welcome.
questions for Kelly? Kelly, there are no questions for accountant or treasurer, and that leaves grant writer administrator's report.
Right.
Good evening, Graceland.
Hello. So I don't have much to add to what's already in your report, just a couple of quick updates. First, that first section there under grant applications currently under review, that DIA workplace safety grant. I just got an email, I think the day after I submitted this report. I know on there it says we're imminently awaiting an award notification. It's going to be more like 2 to 8 weeks. But that still fits within our timeline and the DPW's timeline, so that shouldn't be an issue. And then this weekend, I had the pleasure of going to MMA, which was a lot of fun, kind of a little bit overwhelming, but a great learning experience. So I was really grateful to be able to attend that. And aside from that, I don't really have anything to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions on what's on there.
Thank you. Any questions for Grayson? All right, thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
That finishes up our finance and administration quarterly report. Moving on to the next, community services.
Thank you, Justice.
Hello.
Hi, Jackie.
Jackie.
So we'll start with the library. This quarter saw good attendance at Story Hour, way much closer to the pre-COVID levels. Luann Bankowski formed a stitching group last year, and that's been really successful. She's got a waiting list of 12 people, so the final report to the Board of Library Commissioners were submitted, and the board voted to certify the library at their December meeting, so that's always good news. I worked on the community service employee reviews as well as the fiscal year 23 library, senior services, and veteran services annual reports. And I completed the fiscal year 25 budget requests, sent those to the town administrator, presented to the capital improvements committee on behalf of the senior center, and worked with one of TCTV's staff members, Sarah, on the library's winter newsletter, which should be available any day now. So that's the library's quarter. If you have any questions. Over at the senior center, very busy quarter. 2 trips were well attended. A vaccine clinic offered flu and COVID shots. Had lots of musical entertainment. Had a couple of special Christmas programs, one of which was sponsored by Templeton Recreation. That was really a lot of fun. Heard some great things about the collaboration between Rec and the seniors. Jan LaFave, who's a volunteer at the senior center, and I held a Saturday story time. And one of my previous story time families brought their service dog, so that was fun. COA board met this quarter after several months of not having a quorum. Linda and Elaine attended the MCOA annual conference. Gail Noel offered a health care options talk. And we were able to surplus the Scion, which is it's a very old vehicle that the center's been using in its transportation program, and replace it with a Ford Explorer, which the Templeton Police Department removed from its fleet and Bob and his crew converted. So that's been a real blessing to have a nice, newer vehicle. It's not wheelchair accessible, but it fills a big need in the transportation program.
Sure.
When we asked the drivers to Council on Aging to put it in the parade, they were afraid to put it in the parade because it has so much more power than the Fusion that they might run over somebody.
That's true, because it's a police vehicle. Although Bob did say it was really kind of a bear to convert it. He doesn't think he would attempt to do that again. There's a lot
He said it
involved.
was a challenge.
He did, yeah.
He was glad that it was successful.
I was glad too, and I appreciate it, PD and
Working out
highway
good.
side.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it really is. So, and I've included statistics as usual. Just a busy, it's so busy over there. And Cindy did resign in October, so, Adam and I have talked about sort of restructuring and shifting more of my hours over there. So thankfully with the staff and all the great volunteers, that's, we're holding things together. So,
Okay.
So that's good. Any questions on the senior services report?
I think you're good.
And Michelle couldn't be here tonight. She sent along her report. Her office brought on 2 more veterans who've moved to town. She was able to close the circle for a family who was waiting for a memorial placard for a couple of years. And another family sought her help to have a veteran buried at the Winchendon Veterans Cemetery. And as you probably have seen in the budget versus actual, she's definitely caught up a lot of the chapter 115, and she seems to have a real strong handle on that. So that's very good news. Yeah.
Matt and I, walking through the trade show part of the MMA, I think it was State Veteran Services.
It was State Veteran
They
Services.
had all of their counselors and they all had really nice things to say about Michelle. They talked about not only the chapter 115 that we have in the town, which a lot of times is lower numbers because it's state benefits. They like to be able to give Michelle props for trying to get the federal benefits, the pathway to federal benefits. I didn't even realize, Tim, it was unbelievable when she threw the number out, was well in excess of 5 million. I think the number was in federal benefits that Templeton veterans are getting. A really shocking number. I almost thought like they had no, I said Temple, not Springfield. Really surprising. So for them flipping through pages and then having a really good connection with Michelle, if you want to pass that along.
I will.
A lot of her contemporaries are very happy. And she's a really good person to work with. Like they were like, we love Michelle.
Great.
Mr. Chair, if you remember a few months back, Gail Noel approached and discussed with us, the Chapter 115 is being waned away
Yeah.
in lieu of a Medicare, Medicaid type product.
Got it.
And it does not impact where the money's coming from.
Uh-huh.
It's actually tapping that federal side. So
Yeah.
even though the number sounds astounding, it doesn't come as a surprise.
Regardless, though, she's doing great.
Absolutely.
I'm thrilled.
Doing-
Great. So we have Lisa from Cultural Council and then Steve.
I mentioned to Lisa, we did the state of the town. The chair and the TA usually do that every year, and I was actually pretty excited that going forward into the future and all these expectations that we mentioned the cultural council first. So we're happy about that.
We appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
The Templeton Cultural Council is not very busy, like doing anything this time of year, but we did meet a couple of times, November and December, and also, it kicks off our 2020, grant cycle. And, we were awarded through, the state $11,182 to distribute. We did have 33 applications this year. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That we're not a very big organization, so to spread that money around. And it's from everything. We have someone writing a book to the senior center. So, we discuss it and we go through it very methodically to make sure that we really spread it around so we can use it. This past quarter was we sponsored Sean Fullerton at the Templeton Senior Center. We Winchendon Music Festival performance was one of our sponsors, and also one of our grant things. And Narragansett Historical Society for the wreath sale and the Haunted Historic Stroll. So we kind of spread it around, and we try to do as much as we can. Of course, every time I'm sitting here, what do I ask? We need volunteers. It's a great organization to be part of. We don't need that much. It's not that labor intensive, but it would be nice to have some new blood, younger blood, doesn't matter as long as it's warm. We really need the bodies to help us out. And again, as we age out, which means that you can only be on the council for 6 years. When you sign up, it's 3 years commitment. And most of us on the council have contributed 6 years. And as of 2025, a lot of us are going to age out. So we need people on the council to get comfortable. Like when I came on, I knew nothing. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about the town. And you really need at least a good year to kind of finagle who to talk to, and of course do this stuff and write reports and stuff. So other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions for Lisa?
Shameless plug, just like Johnny on The Price is Right. Come on down.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks.
TCTV?
He's the castle.
Evening. How fast do you think I can do it, Terry? Huh? Huh? Gonna go 2 minutes. Let's see.
Every time you 3 minutes, watch this. Here we go.
All right. We had a very busy quarter. And I was very proud of our crew, worked independently on the fall town meeting production. And when we had these 2 grannies come up from Plymouth and go all over the place on the country roads tour, they did it themselves. I was not available that week due to an illness. And Erin and Caitlin went around with the grannies and tailed them, and Dottie and Hannah offered some support. It was great, and they did the fall town meeting production themselves. Yes. I'm very, very proud of them, and they can do more and more.
with that. We had some tech issues, as you may have heard. We had some bad buffering for a week, and we've been plagued by interference issues here, and they coincided very neatly with the work being done on the rotary.
Of course.
And the water main. So we think they're radios. And actually, the day they were working on water here, it was terrible. I mean, we could barely hear ourselves with the interference that was there. So anyways, a lot of rewiring was done. You've got shielded cable here now. The microphone system was rewired, and right now sounds great, but we'll check it again when the rotary work starts. Up again, and hopefully we'll be past that. We had some personnel changes we covered in the last meeting. We did 34 productions. I won't go through them. It was a very, very busy quarter right up to about December 20th, and then bam, there was nothing. So, and one of the things we do with TCTV News is we also do a little spot for What's Up Montechusett for our website, and sometimes for the digital lab. We pull them out, and it's a good way to be efficient. With that, our YouTube channel and Facebook pages are way up. I was able to pull the 2023 calendar year items, 750,000 impressions. Those are thumbnails that are sent to people on YouTube. 44,000 views in the year, and we gained almost 200 subscribers. Facebook, which the TCTV Facebook page that Hannah does a great job with, is up 133%. In 2023 from 22. And some fun facts on that is most of our followers on Facebook are women. I don't think that's a surprise, since I think women use it a little bit more than men. And the biggest group are women ages 35 to 44. Next time I'll pull the YouTube numbers for that. I imagine with our Tonka Toys video that there are more men there. And Montechusett TV, Dottie has been doing a great job keeping up on that. Hundreds of calendar items have been produced. She's a couple months ahead on it, and we're finding cool things for people to do all over the place. And we have a really, really good foundation with that. And I'll just back up a little bit for the YouTube channel. The videos we did with the two grannies, the TCTV News, the select board meeting, and the fall town meeting all scored very high.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if Senator Durant didn't come, I was gonna wear my disco outfit and try to make everybody laugh. I like that point on
Yeah.
no one caught this.
Well, you know, we made fun of the 70s. It actually came from the sign issue, and I looked up that old song about signs, sign
everywhere
everywhere sign. I said, great, I can make fun of the 60s, and it came out in 1971. So I said, even better, I can make fun of the 70s. And it wasn't planned, but it comes out fittingly that we're haunted by regulations from the 70s and 80s.
Oh.
So you may hear some more jokes about that. That's it.
Steve, I got a question.
Absolutely.
YouTube and marketability and how it has changed. I know, or I'm supposing that TCTV is not on TikTok.
Yes.
However, there is YouTube Shorts.
Yep.
Do you know about YouTube Shorts?
I
Is
need
it-
to research it. Yeah,
Right.
Aaron was,
Something extra? Is it like a different amount of time? Do you think that would help you leverage like eyeballs on content?
maybe. I have to look into it. Aaron had mentioned it yesterday, and I said, yeah, I'll look into that. There are other things you can do on YouTube. We can actually monetize Google ads now that we have more than 1,000 subscribers, but it's nickel and dime stuff,
Yeah.
and you have to get AdSense.
Eyeball. Is that
Yeah.
the way that you were briefing?
It may be worth it.
Yeah.
And we're looking into everything. I was also looking into YouTube channel memberships, but I'm not sure that they would be good for us
Yeah.
to try to put like a paywall on it.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
But thank you for that question. We're looking.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 9 people watching right now. How, again, just like eyeballs to
Yeah.
content.
And we do a lot of shorts, so it might be fitting.
Mr.
Right,
Chair,
yeah.
On a more serious note, could we put
That
this
wasn't
on?
serious? Wait.
Well, no, no, from my last.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Going back to the.
Yes. Could we put it on a future agenda to have a discussion about funding for TCTV? Would that be appropriate?
yes, we are getting into budget season, so there's plenty of time for that. But we've talked about it a lot, but go ahead.
Actually, I did receive from, Mr. Castle, a warrant article request that I plan to put on the agenda at your next meeting to discuss, and I believe that article from the cable TV advisory is what the funding.
Yes.
So next meeting, we'll be putting that on, because
And
Oh,
are we
there-
allowed to discuss other options?
For what?
Funding?
At that discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as we're framing it correctly in the agenda. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when you put an agenda item on, and you stay within it, but you write it to say this is what the scope of the conversation is. Are you worried that we're not gonna?
Well, I don't want to get that. I don't want to break any, I don't want to let us go into the Attorney General that we didn't give enough information.
I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
Adam's got that.
Can you wear your disco clothes?
I will. I will.
But it's a serious subject.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
Just trying to
Thank you, Steve.
bring a little levity.
Lighten things
to
up
it.
a little bit.
Are there any other questions? I'm looking at the clock, guys.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking,
am I.
any other questions?
All right.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Thank you.
You have someone in the audience.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
My name is Stephen Kenny. I live at 212 Brooks Road. I'm just here about the permit that for the is that being rescheduled? Okay, I just
You'll be getting another notice.
okay.
Oh.
But my question is though, I'll go forward with it. He's applied for a Class 2 auto
Yep.
dealerships license. I just wanted to know what that would entail, how many vehicles he could have. Another thing too, if I'm correct, Brooks Road is residential and agricultural.
So
So,
was a question about it. Okay.
so
So-
would it have to be rezoned in order for?
We can deal with that.
Okay,
When it
well,
comes
that's-
before us, yeah. So I understand it, it had, a scheduling conflict. So you have questions about it. So it's gonna be on the next meeting.
Yes, okay, so I'll wait for another letter.
Sorry for your time.
In the future, like citizen input, if you see something that's not on the agenda that you were expecting or otherwise, that's really the time. So you didn't, I mean, hopefully
It's
we were
all right,
entertaining
it's all right.
enough for you tonight,
Yeah.
but, that would be the time to say, I have a question about the agenda. If that makes sense. to you.
Okay, well, maybe I can send an email or something if I.
Whatever, however you want to. If it's
Okay.
on the agenda, we try and take as much
All right,
comment
well,
on it
I
as
figured I could
answer
I
questions.
thought someone was gonna be representing them.
It was
here
delayed.
tonight. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and I
Okay,
didn't know about the delay.
okay.
All right,
All right. Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
All right, we are through the community services and we are on to Templeton Parks and Recreation. Hi, Candace.
Hi. Okay, second quarter, the fiscal year. We had hired our new, assistant, Deeth, and, she's doing a good job. And then, in October, we did, soccer. We employed 5, referees and 2 coordinators. And over 24 volunteer coaches and assistants. And our soccer team sponsors is a long list that I included in the report of all the different various businesses that donated to a team so that they could have their shirts and awards. Gilmy Way concession stand did really well. Everybody liked the new manager. Unfortunately, he has taken another job this winter and won't be coming back in the spring. But they really liked, we had got a lot of feedback. We worked the concession stand and we had it open during the Narragansett varsity and middle school soccer games, the field hockey games, as well as Parks and Rec soccer and the new fall softball games. We received a cooler from the Narragansett school system for the concession stand, which was a nice addition. We also built a wall, that separates, the, electrical, back, area. There's a door, so now we'll be able to get, possibly, we had put in an order for, an AD, yeah. And so it'll be stored there, and that key for that will match the bathrooms so that it keeps the, concession stand, the food area, not with a lot of traffic from different, groups. So that was a nice addition. And we had our freezer fixed. We got a popcorn machine that everybody loved. And the rain was big theme for our soccer and our softball season. We learned a lot about the soccer, the softball fields on what to do when it rains and how to dry it up fast for our playoffs. We employed 4 umpires and had 2 volunteer coordinators, Vanessa and Lindsay, that were from our spring season. Because it was brand new, they volunteered their services to try it out. But everybody is super excited for next year. And our coach, our pitch team received thank you medals, and our players teams, they received pins. Then we had a little playoff, and the golden yellow leaf team won the championship. We learned a lot about the fall program, and everybody looks forward to next year. And we'll be adding sponsors and more to that program financial wise so that we can build it up. In November, we were closing up the park. We winterized it. The DPW, the water department, and the plumber closed everything down at the bathrooms and got it all properly done. So protect it for the winter. And then the new batting cage net was taken down and it was put in stored for the winter. So we protected that as well. We continue to work on the holiday tree lighting for the second quarter, in the parade. And then we had our, that was in November. In December, we held the tree lighting and parade, with a select member, Terry Griffiths, and local business owner, April Cover. We learned a lot about, what to do in case of weather. And, it was a wet event on the second day, the rescheduling. The Coates family was wonderful with the stilt walking. Papa Cover was the Grinch, and Diane Haley from Prettiest Princess. They all did a wonderful job. The CERT team, the fire department, the DPW, the building and grounds, the light department, the American Legion, the Boy Scouts, TCTV, everybody came out and did a great job on all their aspects of the event. We will be starting our planning on February of this year. It's already on our agenda. Also in December, Katie McClure did the movie at the senior center. She did a great job. She had quite a variety of hot chocolate bar everybody loved. And we showed the Grinch, and everybody's looking forward to doing the holiday movie next year. Katie is, and she's also looking forward to being our playground coordinator for that program that we're bringing back this summer. The winter basketball opened up in December with coordinator Ray Kaufman and staff, and we have 28 teams, 5 divisions, 265 players. The residents, for residents and non-residents from grades kindergarten all the way up to the 12th grade. Games are scheduled on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they do all 3 gyms: Templeton Elementary School, the Narragansett Middle School, and the high school. We tried to work to find a space for practices, but all we could come up with was Sunday mornings. So some of the coaches have the ability to go into the gym and do some practices. We also do a skills and drill in the morning on Sundays for those who want to attend, for the little ones from the kindergarten level and to the 2nd grade level. The commissions have been working on we worked on our basketball policy. We had to do some updates, a few things that the coordinator for basketball asked for. So we passed that. And then, what else do? We did our annual report, goals for Parks and Rec. We did our budget, put in for our budget, for the year, and, we signed for the, the Parker grant, for the Hooten Park, and we currently have 3 opening spots. And we're looking for members, to be on our Parks and Rec Commission. We hope that some people come forward, especially now. There's possibility that come at the end of the year, we may not have a board. Members have been for a while, and, they're looking to possibly leave. So, we really need to start filling some of these spots. And, you know, they don't have any children in any of these programs. And they really put a lot of good effort into it. I mean, I don't know, I'm gonna try to talk them into staying, but I do have 3 current spots. So if anybody's out there wants to give it a shot before this fiscal year's over, to see if they like it too, now would be the time. And that's it. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Candace? Or any volunteers for our board?
Yeah, any volunteers for my board?
Just to continue the good work you do, Candace.
Thanks, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Candace. Appreciate it. Item
Hi,
I,
ladies.
item I,
Now we did.
yep. We are on to item J, action related to the Phillipston Dispatch Services intermunicipal agreement. Joan Montagne. Thank you.
What you have in front of you is the intermunicipal agreement between the town of Templeton and the town of Phillipston. This has been a long awaited, the state 911 department worked with us, providing us a template. The police chief and I spent a lot of time drafting up how we're structured here in town with Phillipston. Cleaned it up and sent it off to Phillipston. They made some minor adjustments here and there. And you have the final product in front of you this evening for approval. So this is good news, I think, for the town of Templeton, or it is good news.
Thank you, Adam. Are there any questions on the intermunicipal agreement between Templeton and Phillipston?
Well, Mr. Chair. Through you to the town administrator. First of all, thank you for you and the chief's hard work on getting this done. I know this has been a roller coaster of a road getting to this point between Phillipston announcing their intent to depart and then now coming to this. So thank you very much. Just looking at this, the advisory board, that's section 7, that's a new addition to this agreement. Am I correct? No? Oh, I thought it was. I'm sorry. That was in the previous agreement?
It was always, we had it.
Looks good. Yeah, I don't
Through
do
the
that, then you keep it.
The advisory board, and I believe we changed to meet biannually. That was the change for that.
Okay, so what was it, annually previously?
I believe, I'm not sure if it was monthly or
Okay, so you should.
quarterly. I don't
Okay.
recall, but
Okay.
yeah, this changes to biannually.
Any other questions for, actually, I have a question. I think we had talked about this before. What do you, this has to be ratified by, it has to be agreed on tonight, signed by the chair, and it goes over to Phillipston. In the event that they do not sign, do you have any kind of recommendation, or, what's your crystal ball say in terms of what their board may not do? Do you think I should make a phone call?
I had a positive conversation with Melanie Jackson, their administrative assistant. I'm pretty confident. The chair of the select board at Phillipston was in discussions with the state 911
Okay,
department.
good.
So
Completely
they,
cognizant of the memo. Okay.
so I'm pretty confident. I would be surprised if they did not approve this evening,
Okay.
because they're voting
I say they're voting tonight, right?
as well.
Okay.
But I've been surprised before, so.
All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move to approve the Phillipston Dispatch Services intermunicipal agreement as presented and for the chair of the board to sign.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
that's done.
Hearing nothing. further on the motion to approve the Philippine Dispatch Services IMA as presented and for the chair to sign? How would you vote? Tim,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thanks for the work on that. Okay, next item is item K, action related to the treasurer collector contract. Item K and L are kind of connected to each other, but first, item K.
This will, by us passing this evening, will put our treasure collector on a fiscal year structure, and because with their contract expiring at the end of this month. That's all I have for you this evening.
Okay. Short and simple to the point, one pager with an extension contract. Are there any questions for Adam? Yep.
Just real quick, that this is obviously just an extension of the current agreement to get us through to June 30th, and then we have to negotiate, or someone has to negotiate again with her for a new deal. Will be a 3-year, I assume, starting July 1, 24, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
I mean, it's basically a contract under the same terms and
Right,
conditions.
yeah, this is just an extension of the current extension of the current agreement to get us to fiscal year as opposed to calendar.
And Adam, what is your recommendation?
To approve this evening.
Okay. Any further questions for Adam?
Yes, Mr. Chair,
Of
through
course.
you to the town
Of
administrator.
course.
Looking at item 2 on this document, 6K, changing the under subsection C fiscal 2024, striking 76,000, inserting in 81,000. I look back through the budget book, page 35, and we have a number of 75,994. So the first number is not correct, but jumping it up to 81,000, is that money actually available, or are we going to deficit spend almost $5,000?
In the budget book, you see that number, it's just more of a rounding. But if you look at the bottom, it should be a lump sum allowed number to bring it up to the 76 to cover that. And additionally, after this item, this is the contract, and then the following item will be for the transfer we have out of our intergovernmental account. We have sufficient funds there to cover 5,000.
Okay, the only question I had, and again, you just said the lump sum covers, I see a lump sum allowed of $11, and in my mind, 75,994 plus 11 does not get us to 81,000. So I'm just curious where the money's coming from.
Okay. All right, so the second part, coming from 5,600 account from intergovernmental board of selectmen. What should that number be? 76 straight or 75,969? What is it? What was it?
994.
Yeah. What's better?
The money, the 76,000 is in the budget.
Okay.
The next item is it's the funding mechanism for the
Yep.
contract.
So
there's sufficient funds in
point.
both accounts, the budget and then our intergovernmental account.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, so what I'm hearing, Adam, is her actual number is 75,994, but the budget is 76. Is that correct?
Her contract 76, and there's sufficient money in her budget with the lump sum allowed
Okay.
for the 76. And then we're doing the transfer from our
Yeah,
intergovernmental.
we got that part.
got
That
that
part. we're
part.
good.
So there's sufficient money within the budget is what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's a pen and ink change. It's basically how,
Basically what it is, right?
right, and I just wanted to make sure that the right number was there. So whether it's 76 straight or 75,
Difference.
969,
994.
994, it wouldn't matter. It's gonna be 81.
In the end, right?
Right.
That's-
I just wanted to, if he actually, do you have it up? Do you have that?
The page out of the budget book, absolutely. Details do matter.
I understand. And then that number is then wrapped into the total. So what was passed by town meeting, this number right here is encapsulated into it.
So if you look at the lump sum allowed at the bottom to get us to it, because it's a rounding thing.
Okay,
It's rounding, right?
I understand.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying. So the total number at the bottom.
Yeah, I got it. I see it.
Yep. Perfect. Nope, we gotta ask the questions. Yep.
No, that's great.
Any further questions? Hearing none on the motion to,
There was no.
oh, there was not a.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, sorry.
I move to approve the treasurer collector contract as presented and for the town administrator to sign.
So seconded.
I have a motion and a second. I apologize. I thought so that we had moved beyond that. Any further discussion on that motion?
Mr. Chairman, may I just make a comment and compliment our treasurer collector has done a fantastic job this past year. And I'm sure she was getting a little bit nervous because her contract is up in about 7 days. So thank you very much for cleaning up this little bit of homework, and I'm sure she's pretty appreciative of that at this point in the game.
Great, thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Ms. Richard.
Anything from you?
Her work
Alright.
is
You good?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, hearing nothing further on the motion to approve the treasurer collector contract as presented and for the town administrator to sign. How do you vote, Tim?
Reluctantly, yes.
Terry?
yes.
Julie?
Absolutely, yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I'm a yes vote as well.
Mr. Chairman. And Cheryl did send us an email apologizing. She had a conflict,
Mhm.
so she does great work and she does care.
Thank you for that. All right, we are to our last item of new business this evening. Action related to is budget amendment 2024-3 for pay increase of treasurer collector. As we've already discussed it, this is money coming from the 5,600 account to account for the action that we just took.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the budget amendment 2024-3 for the pay increase of the treasurer collector.
Second that motion.
All right, I had a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
just a question to the town administrator through you, sir.
of course.
Where does that leave us in that account, after the 5,000 comes out? Do you have a number on that?
Roughly $100 over.
Okay, so $100 left, so. Okay, so nothing else coming out of there for the remainder of the year is what we're trying to say.
Okay.
Okay,
Good question.
thank you.
Anything further? Hearing nothing further on the motion to approve the 2024-3 budget amendment for the specified pay increase, how would you vote? Kim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. Thanks, everyone. We are through new business and we have one item of old business. I would ask our grant writer administrator just to come up to the microphone in case we have any questions. This was a lot of work. I did not expect this amount of work, but for something that I think is going to be a good thing for the community. It'll be interesting once we turn the switch on this. And it goes out on the website and the flyers, which you have an example of with you right now. Once it goes out, we did talk through the provisions of how fast it's going to go and what the receipt process is going to be. From a process perspective, it's airtight and it now has, well, airtight. It's as thought out as we could do. And it has had the legal review and any changes that town council has offered were incorporated into the final products that you see before you tonight. The only thing that I need from the board tonight to implement this program is for a board vote to implement this policy letter. You've already authorized the funds. Now you authorize the policy or the authority. Appropriation is near. Now you need the authority to administer the program. Grace is with us tonight. Really, the team of stars that we'll have is Grace. If so moved tonight, Terry would be the select board representative as part of the team, and then also Jackie Prime. And we've talked about Terry's involvement and Terry, have you been in contact?
I have an apology for Grace. I do love this and I do think 60 days is a reasonable amount of time to process a grant. So I did open it, did read it. I'm all on board with the form and everything. I just did, I started, you're a draft in my, I started it, but I didn't send it, so my apologies.
That's
Good
all right.
work.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
So just to clarify, when we're looking at the last page of this thing and we're looking at selection panel application review, the selection panel is going to be Grace, Terry, and Jackie Prime. That's the,
As appointed by the town administrator.
Okay.
So they will not be subject to open meeting law.
Okay.
Because they'll be appointed by the the panel will be selected by the town administrator.
but that's the intention is that.
That is
that-
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So you need a
It's
motion.
public record and they're following public record law. And again, this has the legal review, and that was something that the town council caught to say, this should be, you need to be clear about how you're doing it to comply with law.
So the motion needs to be that we approve the
Policy letter.
policy letter and that we authorize the town administrator to appoint the selection panel.
Yes. And I
Which
would
sounds
further-
like,
And I would further authorize Terry to work with the selection panel.
We'd have to authorize that as well.
I
Okay.
would, yeah,
Okay.
I would specify.
That's okay. I just wanted to get the logistic portion of it cleared up so that we
That's
understand.
Extremely well said.
Okay.
You do have
Mr.
a
Chairman,
question?
I just had a quick question. I apologize.
No, you never have to
That.
apologize. Stop.
So the selection board has already been previously selected in conversations, correct?
Yes, it's the likely, Grace is a grants administrator, so that was.
Right,
we had-
that-
That was a
That's
no-brainer.
a
yeah.
given. That's a no
The
brainer.
genesis of the process, we wanted select board involvement and. we
Mhm.
That's
thought
Terry.
We talked through Terry as a.
No,
right,
perfect fit.
yep. And then community services, because of the outreach and the awareness of.
The awareness of everything going on with it. Perfect.
So that would be the select board direction to town administrator.
Okay.
But
I
ultimately,
see
he would
which way you
say,
did it,
yep.
yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
I move to authorize the COVID-19 recovery micro grant program documentation,
Policy letter.
policy letter, and further to authorize the town administrator as the appointee for the selection panel, and further to authorize select board member Terry Griffiths to serve as the select board representative if appointed.
Second that motion.
Another motion in a second. Any further discussion or questions on process, anything? We had put $50,000 towards this. There is, in the application, there is amount requested, so they could say, I spent $232 on take care and request $232. It's up to $1,000, one per household, 18 or over. Anything that you'd like to add, Grace?
Just that I'm very excited to get started. I think it's a great opportunity for residents.
Me too. I'm already promoting it.
It'll go out to the school, the senior center, hard copy. There's already been coordination of what it'll look like on the town's webpage.
Yep, I think we're hoping to have flyers out early next week and we're hoping for a launch date of February 1st.
And based on, so Grace will have control numbers as they come in. Once we get to 50 or some amount of intake, they'll have to take a look at like pulling down the notices or otherwise, because if we could get high volume, yep. And then on execution, like Kelly briefed tonight on the budget versus actual, we understand where those line items are. If there's any fluctuation and we can adjust, if we wind up going back to adjust numbers, if the program becomes successful, we have the ability to do that, then the board can come back and we can discuss that.
Move money around if necessary.
Yeah, if we under execute in another one of the line items, Bob Sozik comes into a buddy and says, hey, I got a truck for half of that. I don't know. I'm being optimistic.
Me too.
Nice, but okay. I get what you're saying.
Any further questions? I'm proud of the team on this one.
Proud of
This
you.
is a good one.
Well done.
I'm proud of
Yeah,
you.
well done.
Yep.
Kudos to you, Mike.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Right.
great.
Any further discussion?
And also very positive that we have legal review and backing
Yes.
behind this as well. I'm glad that got taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, even up the last hour, I think at 5 o'clock, I was adjusting some of the documents based on legal review. So these are hot off the presses. We're off and running. Right, if there's no further discussions on the motion to approve the policy letter, empower the town administrator, and to designate Terry as the appointed to work with the appointed selection panel. How would you vote, Tim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Grants are on. That's exciting. Thanks, Grace.
That is the right thing to do for the community.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, we are up to board member comments, and then we do have a brief executive session afterwards that we don't expect a vote from. So, board member comments, who would like to start off?
Real quick. I have two quick things. For those who are interested or care or wish to participate, the burn permit program was approved. It took effect April 15th. It will go, I'm sorry, January 15th. It will go through the end of April like it always does. Off the fire department's page, on the town page, you can click into the link. The process is real simple and easy. Residential, you get it all done. It spits it out. You sign your name and you can print it right there. Agricultural, which run the entire calendar year, a little more involved. The fire chief has to make a coordination on it. It's again, a phone call to his office, a matter of seconds, and it's through. Second thing I had is, we talked a couple months back and I had mentioned as we were looking at the ARPA funds and finalizing our spend plan, considerations of an electronic access for the town buildings. And I brought a couple examples, key cards like we use at work. With the exception of the men's room, the ladies' room, and the customer's forward entrance to the building, every other door, this records every time you go in and out. So they can look at it and track it. It's done for accountability. It's done because you have a lot of serial control and sensitive items, et cetera, et cetera. The other one that we use quite frequently, much smaller little fob.
It's like the school has.
This is what the American Legion has also. These are individually controlled, and depending on your level of access, what time of day you can or cannot enter. It's real simple to activate, deactivate, adjust hours. If an employee leaves, you go in, it's a couple clicks of a mouse and you disable the little access card immediately. So they can no longer get into the building. So it's just a thought. I know the chief Dickey came up with a similar workaround using some commercially available door locks, but we should probably get something slightly more sophisticated. That'd just be my thoughts on it. That's all I have.
Thanks, Tim.
Just to follow up on Adam's real estate estimate, it was for CPC. The state recommends 1.5%. I had questioned, and Templeton does take 3%. We do fund 3% after $100,000 every 1,000. 3% of our taxes go to CPC.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
I have nothing today. Thank you.
So two things. I did have the pleasure of attending the MMA conference, and I'll have a further report on that in 2 weeks. Some very interesting things as far as the state's situation as far as revenue goes and their projections for the FY25 budget, and some interesting things that are proposed in the FY25 budget that I think will be of special interest to the town of Templeton. I also had the honor on Monday to go to the city of Boston in Jamaica Plain and accept the grant award for the Baldwinville Elementary School housing project. I was with Mr. LaMontagne and our developers with MPZ and Capstone Communities to accept that award. 28 million, I believe, was the number. I don't have it in front of me on top of my head. Total of 31 million for this entire project. So we have the money. We are going to move forward. There will be a groundbreaking sometime during the summer. And in speaking to our colleagues with MPZ, Secretary Augustus of the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities would like to attend that as well. So look forward to that. He was very complimentary. And one nice thing I would like to speak to as far as that entire process did go as well is that at this presentation, there were 22 grants awarded to 16 different communities across the Commonwealth, including our neighbors in Athol got one, Worcester got one. But something that was very meaningful to me was that of all of the applications they received, every last one of them was funded with this round of grants. So that was it's a very big investment in housing in the state of Massachusetts, and not just in like the 128 and the 495 belts where we always think of a lot of the money goes to. It is in our backyards this time. It's in Athol, it's in Worcester, it's here in Templeton. So we look forward to seeing this project get off the ground and to seeing the Baldwinville Elementary School restored and preserved and turned into a building that's going to make a big difference in the lives of a lot of families. So, and that's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Well
much.
stated, Matt.
I just very quickly, I also went to MMA, probably the most impactful. It's been talking impactful seminar. I've been talking about this a lot within the last year. They had a seminar about AI, artificial intelligence, and they had the CIO, the Chief Information Officer for the city of Boston, got all kinds of resources and staff and otherwise. But he came in and he did some live demonstrations. Not a lot of people. It was like Saturday afternoon. Everyone's trying to get out of town at this point. So there was only about 20 to 30 people when normally there's like at least 100 people per seminar. But I have to say, it's not the sky's the limit, but it's really interesting how cities and towns in Massachusetts are applying AI techniques. They're doing data crunching. They're doing a lot of things that this guy Santiago was talking about, where you would need huge amounts of staff to be able to do something. He's like, I'm not trying to put people out of business. He actually said that, but you can do data crunching, you can do policy reviews, you can do construction projects. He, within a minute of just typing in otherwise, now he was experienced with this, created a program and made had ChatGPT 4, not 3, so he's got the paid version, made an entire website within seconds, right in front of our eyes. So the amount of, he said, if you can think of it, if you can think of something that you need within your community, like personnel, to create stuff, AI is really going to be out there. So we should start to think about how we would want to integrate that into our staff sections, how the different boards, committees, and commissions might use it. And we should start to take a look at some policy out there, because he said there is, there was a lot of questions about who owns the data. If you are producing something with artificial intelligence, who owns that? And he said, it's just a tool like you use Microsoft Excel to do tables. You're not saying that you didn't do anything and Excel did all of the budget work out of them. You just use AI as a tool, and you just are upfront about it that you used it. I was fascinated. I wish the seminar went a little bit longer. Hopefully, Santiago doesn't mind people reaching out to him with questions, but I definitely want to see how we can use that in our community to improve services to our residents.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
could I have a very quick second? You fired a synapse when you were talking about working on the computer and creating the website. Everybody should have received a email today from the MMA. The long-awaited update to the select board
Yes.
handbook is complete. I did have an opportunity on my lunch break today to click into it, and you can just click each section. It expands it right out, and it's like, wow, almost searchable. This is great.
Yep, that was one of the things that was highlighted, and it was live demo and highlighted at the MMA conference.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see the packet and how they did it and how easy it is for us to pull it up. It's
Great improvement.
gonna be great.
As someone had brought it up, I forget where the woman was from, the excellent way to move forward. But for those who prefer paper, there is no methodology unless you tried to print every page. So there was no downloadable, but they took that. The group on the MSA that were working on it, they took that as, let's go figure out how we can wind up consolidating that to make it downloadable in case someone wanted for offline or otherwise. But that's a great point. And that went live, I think, right as they were doing it.
Yeah.
And they shotgun blast that out earlier today, so.
And that's all I had. We are all set for going into. That is the end of item 8, and I would accept a motion to go into executive session for chapter 30A, subsection 21A2, strategy and negotiations with non-union personnel.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Excuse me. I move to enter executive session per MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A-2, strategy renegotiations with non-union personnel, police chief, and to exit executive session solely to close the meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just a quick point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Before we do that, our next meeting should be February 7th, I believe.
14th, second
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, Ash Wednesday, take your pick. That's a few things.
You wear red.
Everybody wear
You
red.
got your wardrobe for the next couple
Yeah,
of
there you
meetings,
go.
all.
I don't know, I gotta do disco, yeah.
All right, thanks for that point. Any further discussion on the motion to go into exec? Hearing none, on the motion to go into exec, only to come back out to close the meeting, how would you vote? Tim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. Time is now